Hi, I'm Eleanor and I'm on nature staff, and I wanted to share some of the amazing things that you can find outside when you take the time to explore. Even if you don't have access to a park, there's as much to discover in a square foot of earth as if you were to travel the world. So I'm going out today and exploring this creek bed, so we'll see what I find. I found these plants and they look like little trilliums. The cool thing about trilliums is they'll have one flower that sprouts up right in the center of them. And it'll often be like white or red. And sometimes it smells really sweet and sometimes it smells awful. And those ones are pollinated by flies. So they'll smell like something that's rotting or pretty dreadful, but they're beautiful flowers. I'm not too great at identifying mushrooms, but they're really pretty to look at from a distance. Exploring a beautiful part of the creek bed. I'm exploring a creek bed and there's a lot of rocks that show all the different layers from time that's passed. And then there's fossils everywhere. My mom was telling me about some of the fossils.
Yeah, so at first people thought that this was a plant because it looks like the stem of a plant. But what they now think, it's a crinoid, that it was an animal that was it latched itself to the bottom of a water source, the bottom of a water bed, and then it would, at the top, had what looked like a flower, and that would filter through the water and filter food out, and that's how it got its nutrients. But it was stuck to the riverbed. But that's the stem, the stalk of it.
So pretty much everywhere you step in this riverbed, you can find all these little fossils. But I wanted to show you this one because it's really big. Let's see, it's a hole. This one's pretty cool looking. I'm looking through another creek bed. There's tiny little mushrooms down here. I wanted to show you another plant I found that you might remember from camp. So this is jewelweed, and it's got those tiny little lobes on the leaf, and then it often has orange or yellow flowers above the leaves. But I wanted to show you what happens when you put it in the water. Jewelweed, I'm gonna try putting it underwater. See how silver it looks? And it never really seems to get wet. The water comes right off of it. It's a beautiful plant. And it can also be used if you get poison ivy on you, it can help relieve how itchy that is. So I wanted to show off this little guy to you. He's a cherry millipede, and true to his name, he smells like cherries. So they're pretty friendly, and if you're careful you can pick them up. But all those colors are actually warning colors to other animals saying, "Don't eat me." And that cherry smell is actually the smell of cyanide. So if something ate one, they'd get pretty sick. But for us, they're pretty harmless. At the very worst, it might be a slight skin irritant if you held one for a really long time. But to us, they're just friendly little bugs that we can look around with, become friends with. So this is one of my favorite trees. It's got a really cool leaf. You can see all the veins through it. But it's called a beech tree. And the cool thing about those is in the fall, they'll turn golden and curl up. but they won't actually leave the trees. So they'll be on all winter, and the light will shine through them on top of the snow if it snows where you are. But they're beautiful and stay on until the baby leaves push them off in the spring. So these are called May apples, and they've got, oh, there's a little friend. But you can see they've got little like fruits almost growing off of them. And it must be the end of their season, but they're growing all about. I wanted to warn you guys for a second that I'm going to show you a spider, but if you're not scared of spiders, there's a really beautiful mama spider. She's carrying all her babies on her back. A really great mother. See all those little baby spiders?